Hello everyone. Spoiler alert for 1923. This video contains spoilers. Let's begin. Porn, a young Lao woman, gives alms at her house. Villagers nearby look and whisper.
This is a warning that this clip contains important spoilers from the movie. If you wish to watch the full film, you can skip this clip. Viewers over 18 should take care, and those who are pregnant, elderly, or have heart conditions should be under medical supervision. If you're watching alone, it's recommended to hug a pillow, and if you have a partner, please hold your loved one tight. We hope you enjoy watching and listening. Thank you.
The story opens with Porn, a young Lao woman who is making merit by giving alms in front of her house. It seems she's chatting with her boyfriend, but the villagers waiting to give alms nearby are looking at her strangely and whispering about something. Sit, a herbalist, cares for his paralyzed mother. At that moment, Sit, Porn's boyfriend, and the village herbalist was boiling herbs for his paralyzed mother. Sit was devoted, hoping she would recover. Porn helped care for her too. That afternoon, Porn's father received a letter about a medical training session for Sit. He saw it as a chance for Sit to gain knowledge to help their village. The training would last 3 months, worrying Sit about his mother. Porn assured him she'd care for her, so Sit agreed to attend. He prepared medicine and noted remedies for Porn. Their conversation hinted at something significant. Porn's father saw a chance for Sit to attend training. The 3-month duration worried Sit. Porn assured Sit she'd care for his mother. Sit just needed to prepare medicine. Relieved, Sit agreed and prepared it, noting his mother's remedies for Porn. The next morning, Sit gave his mother medicine and said goodbye before training. He promised to return in 3 months with medicine to help her recover. When Porn heard this, she told Sit not to worry about his mother. She would take care of her as long as Sit prepared the medicine. Hearing this made Sit feel a bit relieved, so he agreed with Porn's father and started getting ready, preparing some medicine. He even made a note of his mother's herbal remedies for Porn, just in case she needed to make them herself. The conversation between the couple that night seemed to hint at something significant. The next morning, the disciple gave the medicine to his mother as usual and said goodbye to his mother to go to the city to train in medicine. He told his mother that in 3 months he would return with the medicine to cure his mother, and he would take his mother to the temple to make merit together as usual. After that, Sit sat waiting for the bus to the city with Porn, who was worried about him. She thought it would be cold in the city, so she gave him a red scarf that she had woven herself to keep him warm. She reassured Sit not to worry about his mother because she would take care of her just like her own mother. Sit promised that once he got to the city, he would write her a letter to keep her updated. They then said their goodbyes and Sit got on the bus. Porn eagerly awaited letters from Sit, but none arrived. One night, she heard Sit calling her to open the door. She was thrilled to see him, but noticed something odd. Sit looked pale, like a ghost, which startled her awake from the dream. Late at night, Porn heard Sit's voice outside, asking for help to open the door. She found Sit standing still, looking pale, like someone back from the dead, which startled her awake. Even after waking, she still heard the voice, making her uneasy. She gathered courage and went to check outside. When Porn walked over to check, she found Sit standing there, looking very still. At that moment, she felt so happy that Sit had finally come home. But suddenly, she felt something strange about Sit's demeanor, which seemed different. After a moment, Sit slowly looked up, and that's when Porn saw that he looked pale, like someone who had just come back from the dead. It was so frightening that it startled her awake from the dream. But it didn't end there. After Porn jolted awake, she still heard the voice calling her, just like in the dream. This made her feel uneasy, but she tried to gather her courage and slowly walked out to check in front of the house. But now, in front of the house, it was just an empty space. Where did Sit's voice calling her come from? She was sure she wasn't imagining things. Just then, her pet bird, which was hanging on the wall, fell and broke. This only made Porn feel even more uneasy. The next morning, Jenny hurried to the temple to pray for the divine to protect her and keep her safe. In the afternoon, Ball talked to her father, who had no news about the student after the training. He explained that because of the pandemic, travel is difficult. Porn's father promised he would keep an eye on updates about the student and inform Porn as soon as he heard anything. Still, Porn was anxious because the student was away for days without contact. Meanwhile, Orn was a good daughter-in-law and wife, caring for his mother well. When the mother asked about the student, Orn said he was well but busy to keep her unwell mother at ease. However, Fon was worried as the disciple traveled for days without contacting her. Orn remained a good daughter-in-law and wife. She took care of the student's mother diligently. Orn assured her he was well and busy to ease her worries. A villager out catching frogs and fish saw a figure at the wheel shed. When he looked back, he saw the figure was headless. That night, someone in the village saw a figure at the wheel shed. No cars were around. When the villager turned back to look at the shed again, he realized that the person sitting there was headless. Seeing this, the villager was almost in shock and screamed loudly before running away. But when the villager turned back to look at the shed, he saw that the person waiting for the ride was headless. The villager was in shock and screamed before running away. The scene revealed that it was the body of a headless figure walking back from the wheel shed in a terrifying manner, which was the same image from Porn's dream, causing her to wake up. When the villagers saw that, they were in shock and screamed before running away. The image revealed that it was the body of a headless figure walking back from the wheel shed in a terrifying manner, which was the same image from Porn's dream, causing her to wake up. The next morning, Kwan's worries vanished when she met the student who had returned home. Porn teased him for not sending news. He explained he was worried about his mother, which is why he rushed back. Porn was suspicious since it had only been a month. He had gone for training, not the full 3 months he mentioned. The student said he finished his training and would stay to care for his mother. He then went to prepare medicine. After making it, he asked Porn to give it to his mother. Porn questioned why he didn't do it himself, saying his mother would be happy to see him. The student replied he was still sick and didn't want to risk infecting her. His expression showed worry, as if he had a secret. He reiterated his concern for his mother. Porn remained suspicious about the short training period. The student confirmed he wouldn't return to the city and would care for his mother. After the student prepared the medicine for his mother, he asked Porn to give it to her. Porn questioned why he didn't take it to her himself, saying that if his mother knew he was back, she would be so happy and would eat more. The student replied that he was still sick and was afraid of passing it on to his mother, so he didn't want to see her right now. His expression clearly showed that he was worried, as if he had some secret he couldn't share at the moment. In the middle of the night, while Porn was sleeping, she felt like the student was coming to cover her with a blanket. But when she turned to look, she was startled to see her father and the headless figure, causing her to wake up and realize it was just a dream. She walked down from the house, considering going to sleep with her student in the herbal medicine room. She was let down as the student got up, saying he needed space from her and her mother, feeling unwell and possibly sick from the city. She had to walk back out with a sad, longing look, similar to the student who had a sad expression. As the village doctor, when villagers were in trouble, the student had to assist them, despite not feeling well. But even so, as the village doctor, whenever villagers were in trouble or unwell and came seeking help, the student had to do his best to assist them, even though he himself wasn't feeling well. In the afternoon, a villager who had previously sought help from the student came to talk to Porn. He mentioned that when the student came to help him, he noticed that the student didn't have a shadow or a head, so he wanted to offer a donation to make merit and ward off bad luck. That evening, the villager encountered Porn's father and the headless ghost standing under a tree, causing the dogs to howl. Villager was so frightened that he had to run away for his life. Moreover, the student's neighbor started seeing the headless ghost sitting in the herbal medicine room late at night. Right now, Sid looks pale and weak, like someone who is seriously ill, and there's blood seeping from his neck under the red scarf he's wearing. When Sid took off the scarf, it revealed a large, deep wound that was constantly oozing blood. That night, as Porn was about to go to bed as usual, she suddenly felt nauseous and like she was going to throw up, similar to someone who's pregnant. but she didn't think much of it and tried to close her eyes to sleep. Kwan saw her student in her room. She followed and saw him with his mother. Her mother was alone. Surprising her, she went to the student's room. Before that, I followed City out and saw that City was talking to his mother. But when Kwan Namdum entered her mother's room, she saw that her mother was sleeping alone, which surprised her quite a bit. She walked down to the alchemy room to find her disciple and saw that the disciple was sitting and focusing on his desk. Seeing this, she tried to organize the books until she noticed the scarf belonging to her student. She wanted to pick it up, but then she came across a severe wound on his neck. Just then, the student woke up and Porn asked him what had happened to his neck. He simply said it was an injury from when he went for training in the city, which made Porn start to feel a bit strange, because ever since he returned home, he had been acting differently. He was pale and had this serious wound, and every time Porn asked, he would just say he was fine. The student often insisted that he needed to take care of his mother and make her better. That night, Porn decided to tell her student that she thought she might be pregnant. Every time Porn asked about the wound and his state, she got the same answer, that he was a little unwell. The student insisted he had to care for his mother and help her. Porn told him she might be pregnant. He was sad and told her, "You have to care for our child because I want our child to become a helper." Porn nodded, promising to take care of their baby. Porn told her student she was pregnant. "Take care of our child so they can help others." Porn felt followed. But happy for her, the student said to Porn sadly, "You have to care for our child because I want our child to be helpful to others." Porn nodded, promised to care for their child. The next afternoon, Porn sensed someone behind her, but when she turned around, no one was there. The headless figure of her student was following her. The next afternoon, Porn felt something strange. She turned around, but no one was there. Neighbors gossiped about a headless ghost at Porn's house. That night, the ghost appeared, causing panic and making them decide to move out by morning. Before the scene revealed the headless figure of her student walking behind her. During that time, the nosy neighbors gathered to gossip about the headless ghost at Porn's house. Then, late that night, they had a terrifying encounter when the headless ghost suddenly appeared in front of them, causing the neighbors to panic and rushed to pack their things to move out by morning. Porn sensed something odd about her student, but she still trusted him. One day, she saw head roll off the bed. Strange events made Porn question if her student was a person or ghost. She kept thinking she might be imagining things, but said nothing to her student. The strange events made Porn wonder if her student was a person or a ghost. One day, she tried changing his scarf, and the wound on his neck made her uneasy. The strange events made Porn question if her student was a person or a ghost. She changed the scarf and saw his neck wound. The mirror showed him headless. She thought it was her imagination, but the image stayed. Frightened, she left. But then, the thing that confirmed that her student was a ghost appeared right in front of her. When the mirror reflected the image of her student sitting there, horrifyingly headless. This made Porn start to breathe irregularly, but she tried to convince herself that she was just imagining things. She turned to look in the mirror again, and the answer remained the same. She still saw her headless student reflected in the mirror. As soon as Porn realized this, she quickly cut the conversation short out of fear and hurriedly walked out. Porn's father visited a public health friend. He thanked him for helping his son-in-law in training. However, his friend said training wasn't done and no report of him attending. This puzzled Porn's father as his son-in-law was home. Returning, the driver passed a recent accident spot involving a young doctor meant to train in the city for medication knowledge to treat his sick mother. Tragically, he died young, his head severed and unfound. Hearing this, Porn's father found it eerily similar to his son-in-law's case. "I'm back home now." On the way back from the city, the driver passed by a spot where a recent accident had occurred, which involved a young doctor who was supposed to attend training in the city to learn about medication to help treat his sick mother. It was tragic that he lost his life at such a young age, and his head had been severed from his body, and they still hadn't found it. When Porn's father heard this story from the driver, it seemed eerily similar to his son-in-law's situation. He told the driver to pull over at the accident site and tried to look for the severed head. At the same time, on 4's side, there was a sudden pain, writhing in agony as if it were a sign that main character's father was about to learn some truth. When the main character's father met 4's head, it worsened 4's head wounds. He tried to accept the unchangeable until the student's sound stopped. This made his neck and head wounds more painful. As before, when she heard the 4 cries, she tried to accept the fact that she could not change anything because the right had died, till the disciple's voice fell silent. The next morning, the monk revealed what had awakened. The healed parents entered to see the student. The mother reassured the student, expressing pride and happiness, then sang a lullaby to help them sleep. Her soothing voice was the last sound, freeing the student's spirit and guiding them to a better realm. The mother found peace, as that morning she discovered the student's mother had passed away, along with the spirit's headache. The mother's soothing voice was the last sound for the student. The mother was at peace because she found the student's mother had passed away. The student was no longer in the medicine room. The student's mother was also relieved, because on the same morning when she brought food to the student's mother, she found that the student's mother had already passed away, along with the headache that troubled the student's spirit. When she went down to find the student in the medicine room, she didn't find the student there anymore. On the funeral day for 4's mother, the father returned with the student's body, who had died in an accident. She, lifting the cloth, showed the student had died in an accident, suffering a severed neck on the day of the training trip. She had accepted it somewhat, but the bond with her loved one made forgetting difficult. She kept imagining she was still living with the student, and the monk reminded her not to hold on to what had been lost. After she gave birth, she felt better and returned more to reality. She kept thinking she was still living with the student, while the monk reminded her not to hold on. Even after giving birth, she got better and started to re-enter the real world. Later on, she disclosed that her child had a small red birthmark on his neck. According to Lao beliefs, this red birthmark is a mark that helps us remember who was born as our child. And so she ended it. How do you like The Red Scarf, a ghost movie about our neighbors? It's very well made, both the atmosphere and the smell of death in the movie, the way of life of the villagers mixed with the horror of the headless ghost, and the story doesn't seem complicated. What do you guys think? Try commenting and let's see. I might try to watch ghost movies about our neighbors in other stories and summarize them for you. Moving now is called exercise. Moving when you are near death is called physical therapy. Friends, don't forget to break your body, be strong and stand firm. Spoiler alert 923. I have to sign off for now. That's it for today, so don't forget to click on the next one. Good luck.